Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Fly here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another devlog video. News has dropped today of a new fighter, a new jet fighter into the game, the F9F Cougar, a perfect predator. So in today's video, we're going to be talking obviously about the F9F Cougar. However, we're also going to be discussing how this thing's going to compete against other top tier jets, and also my thoughts on why it's a good thing they keep adding jets into the game. But alright, let's go ahead and get into the devlog. Okay, so the devlog says the F9F Cougar was a natural evolution for the F9F Panther, the well-known US naval fighter developed in 1952. The main difference to its predecessor was the shape of the wings. The Panther had straight wings, while the Cougar's airframe was equipped with swept ones. As you guys can see just from these pictures, these are beautiful wings. I would argue that these are probably the prettiest wings in the game. And with looking at the fuselage and the empennage of the F9F Cougar, the wing pretty much covers the whole entire plane. So I'm hoping that this thing can really turn well, because compared to the MiG-17, compared to the Sabre, compared to the Hunter, where there's a lot of dead space between where the wings stop and the tail or the empennage section begins, this one, the F9F Panther, has a wing all the way from the middle of the cockpit to the tail section. Now, it's not the biggest wing, but you can see that it's an extended airfoil that once this thing gets clocked into a turn, it's going to turn really well. A lot of surface area for lift on this thing. So work on the F9F-8 began in 1953, and the whole point of this modification of the F9F was to improve the characteristics of the stall speed and increase in operational range. Those two things, well, the second one we really don't care about, operational range, because games last 15-20 minutes. Now the stall speed is very interesting, because in real life this was a naval plane, so if the plane could get to a slower speed, or a speed where it won't stall at that is lower than the plane before, it can have easier carrier landings. It doesn't have to come in so hot, and it doesn't impact the ground so hard, and that will play a nice role in War Thunder, with it being maybe easier for this plane to carrier land, and for hammerhead and stalling maneuvers that are critical in the jet meta gameplay. One of the main reasons of the redesign of the F9F Panther to the F9F-8 Cougar was this is pretty much a MiG-15 killer, or at least it was designed to be a MiG-15 killer. However, it didn't even fight against the 15s in the Korea War. It didn't make it into combat or operational service to face them yet. But I'll tell you right now, we will definitely face MiG-15s and even MiG-17s with the F9F-8 Cougar. So the devlog gives us more information about this is the second American jet with swept wings in game, along with the F-86 Sabre. The F9F-8 is armed with 4 20mm M3 cannons. So these are all going to be nose mounted. And what I really like about the American 20 mils is at jet tier, they don't go as fast as other rounds in the game, like the Sabre 20 Gatling gun or the 8-inch cannons. But what they do great is they have a nice dispersion when you're sniping with them. So let's say a MiG-15 blows past you, and then you get your guns on target around 0.7 kilometers. You hold the trigger down, he's not moving, and with the way these things fire, they're not entirely accurate, but there's so many of them concentrated in the nose that it creates a good dispersion. Like a group dispersion. So if they don't move, they're going to get hit by him. And with the explosive power of the M3 cannon 20 mil, they might take a critical or even a death. So here are when things are going to get really interesting for the F9F-8 Cougar. The aircraft is powered by one jet engine, and that is the powerful Pratt & Whitney J48 P8A engine, almost allowing the Cougar to approach supersonic speeds. Now, compared to the F9F Panther, the predecessor to the F9F-8 Cougar, the F9F-8 Cougar goes about 70 miles per hour faster than its predecessor. So that's a really big improvement. However, just a small comparison of what it was supposed to fight against, the MiG-15 is still able, at top speed and optimal conditions, achieve a 4 mile per hour faster top speed, or around 7 kilometers an hour. So guys, I do apologize. I have made a mistake in getting my information from the wrong F9F Cougar. I was getting it from the F9F Cougar, or the F9F-8 COUGAR, and that one had the top speed of 1,052 kilometers an hour, but the F9F-8 has a top speed of 1,110 kilometers. So that is 885 kilometers an hour faster than the F9F Panther. And just to keep it going about the speeds, because this will change almost everything about how the F9F-8 will play in games. So all these speeds are in kilometers an hour. So compared to the MiG-15 BIS, it's 51 kilometers an hour faster. Against the 17, it's 35 slower. LA-15, 103 faster. Against the Hunter, it's 40 slower. Against the Venom, it's 80 faster. And against the Meteor F8, it's 145 kilometers an hour faster. Now, compared to the SR-71 Blackbird, it's about 2,200 kilometers slower, but that might be released in the next patch. But holy crap, from going from a new jet in game that I thought was still going to be a support fighter, a cleanup fighter, a fighter that might be able to get on a 6 and stay on longer than the F9F Panther, this changes everything. So the F9F-8 Cougar is going to be able to get on enemy 6s by, surprising them because it can't chase it down, but it's going to be able to get on the MiG-17, the Hunter 6, and at least be able to stay on its tail for maybe about 10-12 seconds until the Hunter or the MiG-17 can accelerate out of the sniping distance that, decent pilots have, maybe about 1.2, 1.3 kilometers at the max. But this will give the F9F-8 Cougar's pilots a lot of time to get those 420mm M3 cannons around the target to, maybe get some pretty nice kills. And additionally, we learned earlier on the dev blog that this thing has a huge surface area for a wing. So not only are we going to have top speed performing compared to the top tier jets in the game, but we'll be able to turn around on them. We'll have another card up our sleeve. So instead of being just only fast, we can now hopefully turn around, the Hunters or the 15s, 17s that are trying to kill us from the rear. So it's panning out that the F9F-8 Cougar is a jet that is a jack of all trades. I mean, we have really good guns. We got 4 20mm M3 cannons. We've got a respectable top speed, and with that new wing design on the F9F-8 Cougar, hopefully we'll be able to turn on a dime, because look at that darn wing, man. It goes from the center cockpit all the way back to the empennage and tail assembly. It has to turn well, at least from the pictures. Now, one thing that I am worried about that might break this plane in its defensive flying and counter-attack ability. Counterattack just kind of means, someone's behind you, you roll around, you drop your air brakes, they blow by you, but you do it in a way where you can get your guns on target and kill them. Is that I'm worried that the F9F-8 Cougar won't be able to do that, because we have a massive wing, and with a massive, well, it's not massive, but when we have a big wing, it's harder for the plane to roll because the plane has to push all that air out of the way. If you look at the pictures compared to a 15 or a Sabre or even a Hunter, there's a lot of dead space between the wing and the tail section. This is all covered. So instead of having a swept wing that's able to slice through the air as it rolls, this whole plane has to push all the air out of the way, which might result into a slow roll rate at higher speeds. And that might break it, to be a very competitive fighter, because you might not be able to roll that well, and when you can't roll that well, you can't get on someone's 6 after they blow right by you. So, I mean, in the end, we'll just have to wait and see how this thing pans out. But with that new top speed, I'm pretty darn excited about the F9F-8 Cougar. Now I'm going to talk about why I think adding jets every patch is crucial to the health of top tier jet gameplay in War Thunder. We have this thing called compression, and compression, Mags TV goes into depth and tells it just how it is perfectly. But pretty much to sum it up, there's too little jets from too many eras into one tier. So for an example of jet compression, is that you have the MiG-9 late, which isn't good enough to go up against F2 Sabres, MiG-17s, and Hunters. So they lowered the BR to 7.0. However, at 7.0, if the MiG-9 late gets into a 6.0 match, it can dictate the entire battle on any term it wants to. It's faster than any prop in the game. It's faster than almost any jet at its BR. So what I'm trying to say is that in War Thunder, you either have a challenging BR or a clubbing BR. So for the MiG-9 late again, if you get 7.0 matchmaker, balance. If you get 8.0, challenging but still balance. If you get 6.0, you absolutely can do whatever the crap you want. You can play Russian disco music and have a ball. And with the additions of new jets into the game, I think it will saturate this area and make jet gameplay more balanced. You know, a step that I would like to see, even though I like to see the F9F-8 Cougar coming into the game, I would like for them to be adding more beginner jets, such as like the HE-162, the Yak-15, the Yak-17, jets that bridge the gap between props and, you know, 7.0 jets like the MiG-9 late. Because as said in my rant video a couple months ago, it's really hard to sell to somebody who is angry. However, if you sell to someone that's having a good time, I guarantee you it's much, much easier. And then if the players are happy, the community is happy, and then they tell their friends tell friends. However, if they're pissed off that a MiG-9 late is, you know, clubbing them at the Focke-Wulf 190, they're gonna leave the game very quickly. And I think that needs to change, and I think the next patch and patches in the future need to focus at least 2 to 3 beginner jets into War Thunder to bridge the darn gap. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm pretty darn excited now that I understand the F9F's 8 top speed being 1,110 kilometers an hour and not 1,052 kilometers an hour. 50 plus makes it much more competitive at top tier gameplay. But guys, do me a favor, have a great day. And also one thing to leave you guys with. In the comments below, let me hear the top fastest, most advanced jet that you think could work in War Thunder. All right? Let me know. All right, guys, have a great day. Until next time, peace out.